Hi, it's Dr. Noel Williams, Optimal Health Associates, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. COVID update, February 20th, 2021. So I posted an article from the Wall Street Journal yesterday, maybe it was Thursday, I can't remember, about herd immunity by Dr. Markey out of Johns Hopkins School of Public Health. It's pretty much what I've been saying for the last 4 to 6 weeks, that this should be over by sometime in early April because of herd immunity. If you read the article I posted a day or two ago, he talks about the fact that several of his other public health colleagues counseled him against doing it for a variety of reasons, because it could affect people's desire to get vaccines and things like that. But he said, no, the public deserves the truth. We deserve the truth. And the line, which I'm going to focus on today, is a little bit of line and why it's important to understand what's going on with COVID and in our country and across the world, which may not be what some of you want to hear, but you lie for a reason when you're a public health person or a government official. And the reason you're lying is for power. That is, you're not lying for the betterment of mankind. They may tell themselves that. And one of the things about lying when you're these people is that lie becomes their truth, so they can say it consistently. So we're going to get back to that. But the bottom line is this. We know from antibody data that probably well more than 100 million Americans have been infected, period. We know too, which has been published in multiple journal articles, including the lead scientific journal article in the world, the journal Science, that there's a prevalence of cross-immunity from corona cold viruses against COVID-19 infection of at least 25 to 30%. Third, we know from other published studies that somewhere in the range of 20 to 30% of people with active measles, mumps, and rubella vaccination effects have cross-immunity to COVID. And then fourth, we're vaccinating the heck out of people. 1.3 million people or so a day. We'll probably have 150, here, sorry, my phone's singing, about 150 million vaccines by the end of March administered. So that all winds up to give us well over 70% immunity, okay? Think about it. We have 100 million already infected because it's antibody data. Think of all the poor people, as this article talks about, or socially, economically disadvantaged, where there was no testing and how hard it was to get a test for lots of people. So we know 100 million people have been infected here. Two, we're going to have well over 100 million people vaccinated by the end of March. Third, we know there's cross-immunity to corona cold viruses of 30%. So if there's 330 million people in the country, 200 million people have already been either infected or vaccinated. And there's long-term immunity, which we all know, okay? God almighty, it just drives me insane. You have long-term immunity from the infection. All the data shows that. Look at Brazil. There's a city there, Manaus. 76% of the population has gotten COVID. Their case numbers have gone practically to zero. They have all the variants there. There's none of those people are getting infected or reinfected, or virtually none, less than 1%. And if they do, they have very minor illness. So again, there's long-term immunity. I've posted papers. It's time for some reality about this. But why is there the line? We'll get to it. So if you look at that, we have 200 million people who are going to be out of risk. But then you have at least a 30% cross-reactivity with corona cold viruses. So out of the 130 million people left, probably somewhere 30 to 40 million have that. And then probably out of the remaining group of 70 to 80 million, 20 to 30% have some immunity from their measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine. So ultimately, that's without vitamins at this point or anything, not that I'm saying that to stop using them, you're at well over 70 to 80% of people. And so that means we have herd immunity. With the RO for this, or how many, the average infection is going to, it is about 0.8 from person to person. It may go up to 1.2, but ultimately 70 to 75% is the magic number for herd immunity. So we're going to have it. So the next subject is, as I'm talking about herd immunity, we have to understand, why am I talking about it? Because the fear can end. The fear has to end. It's driving me nuts. All these poor people have been manipulated into terror, being terrified all the time. You can't go out, you can't socialize, you can't do anything. It's wrong. We're tribes, we're people, we're clusters. We need each other. The suicide rate is sky high. Let's get over this, people. This does not mean you stop your vitamins and you don't wash your hands and do all your stuff. But we can move forward. We can have a normal life again. And if anyone who's obstructionist to that understand they're doing it purposefully for power. That is why they're doing it. There's no other reason. The data is replete on this. You can look at the data from 2008, which this article mentions, which I had mentioned before, but I didn't dwell on it because I know it would just make everyone insanely mad at me and maybe get my post pulled. Again, they showed there was T-cell immunity in people who were alive from the Spanish flu. You have permanent immunity. I've talked about T lymphocytes for forever. You get permanent immunity from your T cells. And if you have a normal T cell response, which minimally 95% of us do when we get infected, you're going to have long-term immunity or protection, and you're not going to spread it. I mean, it's all made up, all this stuff. And so the bottom line is this is going to end. We need normalization of society and the cancel culture that's going to be applied to anyone who disagrees, because that's going to be the next thing. You need to stand up for those people because it's wrong. So the bottom line, this is over. I mean, we've gotten there. Just get your vaccine. Now, for those of you who don't want to get the vaccine, and I've had a billion people, not a billion, but a ton of people in my office who want to get the vaccine and a ton of people who don't, get the vaccine. It's going to protect you. It's pretty darn safe. And if any of you who are going to tell me how wrong I am, show me the data showing it's not. There isn't any. Other than mild cough, cold, congestion, and flu type symptoms, or not cough, cold, congestion, mild flu-like symptoms, feeling fatigue, over 99.9% of people have virtually nothing of significance from the vaccine. I felt tired and worn out. Sorry. That's pretty much it. For those of you who've had reactions to other vaccines in the past, I think it's highly unlikely you're going to have one from this, especially if it's one of the messenger RNA ones. So get the vaccine, facilitate herd immunity, get it done, and let's get through this. And the other thing is there's these idiots who talk about the vaccine not giving long-term immunity or not preventing infection are incorrect. It's manipulation. It's manipulation and power control. It's to make you scared all the time. Be scared all the time so you never get to think again for yourself and you never question again for yourself. Vaccines work by providing immunity. The end point of the Pfizer trial and the Moderna trial was to show immunity. It wasn't to show disease lessening in terms of intensity, like you didn't get as sick. The primary endpoint was to show immunity and stop infection. If you have immunity, you are not going to infect other people. I heard Fauci yesterday on NPR lie and lie and lie. First, he says, we have no idea how many people need to be vaccinated to provide immunity. Yes, we do. I mean, isn't that the entire purpose of the CDC and his office? Yes, we do. He said it's 70 to 85% of the population. Utter baloney. He's lying. And why is he lying? For power maintenance. Number two, he said, it could be in your nasal pharynx even after you've been vaccinated and it could spread. No, it can't. It doesn't spread that way. There's nonsense. I mean, if you have viral particles on you, they're on you, but that doesn't mean you're infected and you're spreading them. I mean, it's just made up. It's just made up. And notice how, again, the pattern with these people. We know for sure that remdesivir doesn't work. And for anyone who promoted remdesivir, I forgive you for promoting remdesivir when it didn't work and it was clear it didn't work, but maybe you were a paid consultant, not people here, but people across at the FDA and CDCs who I'm talking about and who approved it. I mean, it doesn't work. It's multiple trials. Did they go back and say, hey, we rushed it through, changed the primary endpoint at the CDC and FDA with Dr. Fauci? No, they don't acknowledge that. The bedanazide inhaled steroid the doctor in Texas promulgated, well, study out of Oxford came out this last week showing that it had a 90% reduction in hospitalization. How about that? 90% reduction in hospitalization, which is what we've seen once we started using it too. But more importantly, that data has been out there. The FDA refused to do a study on it. They belittled it, said it was wrong, criticized people. And again, that would have decreased hospitalization if it would have been widely and easily adopted by 90%. And I'm upset about it because it's lying and it's killed people and it's caused all this damage because these people are bad people, okay? They're in it for the money. Look at the pattern. No outpatient treatment. That was second. First was, this isn't ever going to get here. It's never going to get here. They all knew it was going to get here. Even Redfield said it was going to get here. Robert Redfield from the CDC. He said it the whole week of the last week of January. And it's when he did that, and then Fauci said it isn't, and went on every TV program and said it isn't ever going to get here, and we don't need to worry, and we don't need to do a mitigation strategy. That's when I started because I knew that was wrong. And then two, Fauci saying, because yes, I want you to understand this. Fauci is a horrible human being. And if you guys don't want to hear that, turn me off, unlike me. Because he's lying, and hearing him lie yesterday drove me insane. And I'm sick of it. I'm sick of the lies because there's science, and it's about making money on the vaccine for them. And that's what they did, because there's another article that showed several of the people in the NIH in the infectious disease division that he runs already have patents on it, on the vaccines that all came out. It's all about the money. So they stopped they stopped the truth about we needed to mitigate. And why do you mitigate? You mitigate to get a plan going, which they never did. Mitigation is not a primary strategy. It's never been a primary long-term strategy, but that's what we did in our country because our public health officials are corrupt. Number two, they didn't allow any kind of time, didn't use that time to then use the mitigation strategies that were shown to work, never allowed them to work. Third, they said, don't wear masks, don't wear masks, don't wear masks. Know why they said that? Because they wanted you to get it. I'm mad about it. It wasn't any other reason. I've looked at this. It never made sense. And now they say wear 2 masks. It doesn't work like that. The whole reason masks work is because the humidity between your nose and your mouth gets to 100%. And yes, I'm very upset because I'm just so disgusted with what has been done to us as a country by our public health officials. I'm disgusted. And so then we go through months and months and months and months of people dying and getting sick. There's still so now we have all these long haulers. Has the FDA come up with one idea for them? Is there a normogram to even treat them? No, we have to do it. People like Bill Bondurant and myself and others, we talk, we figure it out. We have to read journal articles. I mean, why are we having to do it? I'm a damn gynecologist. Because they won't do anything except promote things that make money for big pharma. And it's driven me insane. And I don't mind the big pharma people having solutions, but how about solutions and training for physicians to treat the people who've had these illnesses? And they're not doing that here. So anyway, I'll get off my high step stool now. But that's kind of what you have to start realizing. And you have to understand the lines for power and to keep you scared and to make sure you never travel unless they decide you can travel, and make sure you don't eat dinner unless they can eat dinner. And notice how all the politicians in California and New York, they all can eat dinner and do stuff, and they can excuse entertainers and basketball players from being tested because, they're special and we're not. Well, we're all special. We're all humans and we all matter. So, stand up for yourself. Agitate. Kim's looking at me like I'm losing my mind.
I think you need a hug.
But I'm sick of it, and it's just going to get worse. I mean, part of it is, too, Kim was telling me how they want to stop. The cancel culture thing is they want to stop calling people, moms who breastfeed, breastfeeders. They want to call them chest feeders. What kind of horse malarkey is that? I mean, it's breast cancer. It's not chest cancer. You breastfeed. I mean, but it's denigrating. Oh, it's not denigrating to say that someone is a breastfeeding mom. They're a breastfeeding mom. That doesn't denigrate moms who don't breastfeed and bottle feed, or dads who bottle feed the baby. But no, it's breastfeeding. And if you don't like it, go away. God, but if you buy into this cancel culture thing with medical science, anyway, so I'm stopping.
Okay.
But that's where I'm at right now, because I think we're going to get screwed. And you got to fight against being screwed and lied to and understand you are. So I can't take it anymore. It's just too many data sets of lies all the time. It's driving me insane today. So sorry, probably time to relax. Bye.